Curse that can that somehow put up a fight. Yeah, that's some Animal Crossing fishing logic there. The cold opener this week featured Doremi admiring her obvious crush of the week. From there, the episode proper opened at the Harukaze dinner table, minus one father who had said he'd bring back some fish for dinner. Obviously, that didn't come to pass, but for Doremi at least, he did bring home quite the catch. Also, nice to know that the best way to avoid spousal abuse is by using children as shields. God, I hope these parents become better in later seasons. The next day at the Mahodo, the Ojamajo and their fairies were making charms. Oh, come on, guys. That's a perfectly good, Corsola keychain? To be fair, at least it was more creative than her owner stuff, who was just making bog standard heart charms. But yeah, obviously Doremi was smitten by that Hasegawa kid. And fortunately for her, they were planning on going on a camping trip that weekend, which would give her opportunities to be with him. But the little Ojamajo also had to admit that she didn't have the best track record when it came to her love life. Thus she asked Hazuki and Aiko to act as her wing girls. They agreed and even volunteered to act as her love coaches. With that, they all transformed, and surprisingly, though also very thankfully, they introduced a new trio transformation like something we'd get in a Precure series to save time, which this show has been guilty of wasting even if it is more of a slice of life anime. The sequence itself was very charming and stylish, showing all three transformations simultaneously with rotating bubbles, while some admittedly adorable miniatures of our main characters scrolled by. The background saying Okigai or changing clothes was also a nice touch. Anyway, after their roll call, they decided to try and improve Doremi's fishing game so that she could at least keep up with her crush. She tried to create a fish tank through some reused animation, but I guess cutting corners like that produced a bit of a weak tank.
Moxie, I just bought those eels!
Actually, Majorika did kind of have that reaction upon seeing her wet shop. However, she was willing to forgive the Ojamajo and even let them go on their trip instead of working at the shop if they took her with them. Yeah, obviously they didn't want to bring the toad with them, so they made plans to ditch her. The next day, the father and daughter were making their contrasting preparations. Okay, I haven't really brought this up, but man, Mr. Harukaze's voice actor is just not that good. Who does him again? Oh, that actually explains a lot. Yeah, nothing against Yuta Mochizuki, but it's clear he's meant more for tokusatsu than anime voice acting. In Zyuranger, he was not only able to express himself in front of an actual camera, but he could also really go all in and sound like a total superhero when voicing the Tyranno Ranger. Same thing kind of happened with Precure. Like, I did not think Ichika's VA did a very good job in her role, and yet, ironically, when you see her play an emotionally compromised android voice actress in Kamen Rider 01... Papa? Seriously, those were some amazing facial emotions. Don't waste them. Point is, I don't think Geki does a great job enunciating his lines all that well and comes off pretty stiff most of the time. It makes me kind of wonder if he sounds any better in other languages. Oh, he totally does.
You're finally starting to see the fun in fly fishing, aren't you?
Also, during all of this, we learned that Pop was going to spend the day courting around her simps. Oh, how I pity these boys and their wallets in the near future. Along the way to the camping grounds, Doremi discovered that her fairy had stowed away and that her friends had brought theirs with them too. Hey, good job catching on to those anime tropes there, girl. They met Hasegawa at the campsite, along with his father, who of course was not at all interested in nurturing his son's hobby. Yeah, just guess what the main conflict of this episode is gonna be. Though, to be fair, Papa Hasegawa did have a point that his son did need to study for his junior high entrance exams. Still, Mr. Harikaze wanted to find some kind of middle ground for his fishing bite that would satisfy everyone. The winning the far over wouldn't be easy, as the lake was being more than a little stingy. Wanting to make a better mood for their friend, Doremi's wing girls went to use their magic to make some fish appear. Not sure if they were planning to teleport them in, or just create them, as again, Crank Life seems to be a bit on the low bar for witch magic for whatever reason. But it didn't really matter, as their fairies also tried to help, and Dodo got caught as a result. Fortunately, a quick transformation spell saved the little one, but also left Hasegawa once again disappointed. However, during all of this, the fairies managed to make a little discovery. As it turned out, the frog lady didn't take being ditched all that well.
Now if only Slippy would blow up like that.
Thus, she got to the lake first and set up a giant net to isolate all the fish around her. She did all of this, of course, in order to be a trolling frog, and okay, what the hell is going on with Lala's mouth here?
Last time I checked, jaws go down first, not up.
Anyway, Aiko and Hazuki tried to distract Majurika with promises of hot springs and back rubs. And fortunately, Lala played along with dealing with her selfish master, giving the fairies the opportunity to release the fishies. It seemed like it might have been too little too late at first, as Hasegawa was about ready to throw in the towel, but then we got the best part of this episode, with the kid thanking his father for at least going camping with him. It was obvious the dad was morally against this trip, but I think deep down, the father and son just want to spend quality time together more than anything else. Honestly, good stuff, just as long as you ignore the fact this kid is mostly a static image with a flapping mouth.
I'll give you 3 guesses as to who the animation director was of this before we get to the conclusion.
Anyway, seeing a father and daughter being able to do this whole parent-child bonding thing, Mr. Hasegawa decided to do it with his son, even getting his shoe wet in the process. They got a big catch, prompting a very cliched reaction from the father.
You and a certain Prince of All Saiyans could start up a Tsundere Fathers Club.
Aiko and Hazuki soon returned to explain where all the fish sunlight came from, and how they managed to get rid of Majurika thanks to their hot spring, aka an electric kettle. Honestly, this just makes me think of the boiling frog fable and how it can apply to this witch on multiple levels. With that, the camping trip went smoothly, and finally gave Doremi an opening to confess to Hasegawa, who also had a confession of his own.
He's up! Boys, he's up! Ayo! I also considered putting that school day song here, but not enough yandere.
With that, the episode ended with her wing girls not hearing what he just said, and trying to brighten up the mood with fireworks, not realizing they were about as supportive as Bruce Campbell in Spider-Man 3.
This is a very meh episode. I mean, it did produce some good laughs like that ending, and some decent emotions, especially between the father and the son, but other than that, yeah, there wasn't much of substance other than huge streamlined transformation sequence.
One other issue I had that at least wasn't as bad as previous episodes was, of course, the animation done by Mitsuru Aoyama. Yes, I know I pick on the guy a lot, so I will say again, this is far from his worst work, though it still does feature some of his shortcuts, like only the mouths moving or going the wrong direction entirely. Now, if they were actually trying to portray Hasegawa as a kind of out-of-place and shallow love interest for Doremi, then honestly, it kind of did work. On that note, while Hasegawa didn't work as a love interest, I did kind of like his stuff with his father, showing how a parent and child can come together in spite of conflicting interests. It shows that sometimes you don't need an inherent interest in a hobby, just a familial bond that can be shared between loved ones. It's a basic, but still very good message. The rest of the episode was kind of forgettable, I think because they tried to put in too much and ended up rushing through a lot of it, like the indoor fish tank and Majurika's private lake. Both scenes were pretty much concluded just as they were introduced. Yes, it was nice to see Doremi's friends helping her, but without her being there, it felt kind of shallow in the end. So, overall, just an extremely middle-of-the-road episode with a good father and son plot and some occasional bad animation.
After I edit this, I'm going back to work on my Sinful Gear Axis review. So far, I'm starting to really come to appreciate this season beyond just being a bridge between GX and XV. It has a lot of good character moments, plus a lot of Katsubi Ono's insanity on more than one level. Look forward to it, and until then though, farewell for now my friends, and you know what, can we get one more Daddy Dan clip please?
Oh, this is so wonderful!
I don't like to support 4Kids, but you sir will always be my Yugi.